Right.
Here we are with Maffaz on the Elected Validator series. We're gonna interview Maffaz on his experience in being a validator and also a third-term Validator DAO governor. So how about you start out by telling us about being a Validator DAO governor and what now this is your third term now and what you think about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously I'm on my third term, and the first two terms were quite tough, I guess, in getting things up and running and finding out what we were doing and how we were going to do it and establishing things. Not to say that this term has been easier. It's been different. We still face lots of unique challenges, but yeah, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed serving the community. I feel like being a part of building something new, starting from the beginning. You know, I know there's a lot of chains, a lot of people doing DAOs, but I think that well, at least the Validator DAO, I don't really know that much about other DAOs, but I think we're doing something which is truly unique and special, and we're doing DAOs in the right way. We're doing it fully decentralized. Community has the power. We're very resistant to any sort of centralized control or power to any individual or group of people. And I think a lot of, so I don't want to, speak out of turn, but, I see a lot of so-called DAOs, not necessarily in harmony in general, whether it's a token or on a chain, they call themselves a DAO, but there's always someone or some group of people who are in control, and it's really sort of a pseudo DAO. And I know we do kind of rely a little bit on harmony for funding and so on and so forth at the moment, but they aren't enforcing that. So I think once we become truly self-sufficient, then we will be a true DAO, and it won't matter what Harmony says or what the governors say or what Jim Bob Validator 2 says. It will be the community as a group, as a whole, will decide the future of the protocol, and that's the way I see it. And I think that it's working out quite well. I think the self-governing by the community has turned out quite well, in all honesty.
Wow, thank you. Regarding, well, like we said, we are currently in term 3. How do you think the Validator DAO has evolved since term 1 to term 3?
Oh, massively. It's evolved massively. I mean, I can remember at the beginning, there was 5 of us, and we had nothing. There was nothing at all. No charter, no guides, no tools, no nothing. And they said, right, okay, you need to do something with this. You're a DAO. A DAO is this. A DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization, which means you represent the community, but the community are in control of what goes on. And the first term was quite quite a challenge, because I know we have a charter, but it seems quite simplistic when you look at it now, but we spent a lot of time going through it and making sure that we didn't offer power to ourselves. We didn't offer power to validators or groups of validators, and most importantly, had to think about the future. What sort of people will be involved in the DAOs in the future? What sort of people will become governors, and how can they possibly game or act maliciously if they have this tiny amount of power? And you would find that when you start thinking 4 years ahead, that the tiniest seed that you plant right now can actually cause massive corruption in the future if you let that continue over time, because the little bit of power you give now can build up, and before you know it, in 5 years' time, you've got 5 people who can basically make decisions themselves. So that was quite challenging. And then we also had to set up all sorts of things, all the not just the charter, but we set up all the social media accounts and organized the DAO. We organized accounts, and we did lots of stuff, but I didn't do it all, so I can't speak for everybody. I did a lot of the social media stuff. I know JCB did a lot with organizing it. If you look at the Google Drive and all those different sections and stuff like that, he did all of that. So we put a lot of work in, and that was only with the 5 of us. And then when we did VDAO 2, I had 9 governors. That was really good, because all of a sudden there was almost double the people. Or at least for me, there was double the people as me and twice as many other people. And that gave us the chance to really start to flourish and expand and work on new ideas. I was the only person from VDAO 1 at the time, and everybody had their own ideas and their own things that they wanted to do, and that was really great as well. And I think we've been lucky as well with all 3 terms of the DAO. Everybody that's ended up being a governor has been so enthusiastic and so dedicated and passionate about, you know, serving the community and pushing forward this idea of decentralization, and that's something, you know, really nice, proud to be a part of. I think everybody who's been in the DAOs should also feel that as well. It's a great thing to be a part of.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm definitely glad you decided to do a 3rd term. You're a very valued governor, and I like hearing your input on everything.
It's just experience, you know. I'm not if you remember what I say, then you know just as much as me.
So when did you decide to become a validator, and what made you decide to become a validator?
Well, I was lucky enough to get invested in Harmony, and well, actually at the time I was into ADA, and I was kind of sort of suckered into their whole, you know, blah blah blah. Won't go into detail, and I also had Harmony, and I didn't have much money. I had $1,000, so I had it in ADA, just a little thing. And then I was looking around, and I wasn't really feeling it with ADA, you know. And I think the price around them was maybe about 30 cents or something, but one was a lot cheaper. And I really can't remember exactly how I got into one. How, you know, probably just do your own research. Maybe a friend told me or whatever. But I was just like, hang on a second, you know, like I'm looking at the supply, and I'm like, yeah, ADA might go to a couple of dollars, you know, I might make a few thousand, but I'm like, one, it's like less than a cent. It's, you know, I don't know, it's very cheap. So I saw my ADA, bought the one, and I was like, great. And then it did start to rise, and I was like, well, this is great. And then I got into the community, and just sort of hanging around, and then obviously I'm a computer guy, and I was just like, what's the crack with this validator? Previously I'd investigated having a validator for ADA, but again, I wasn't so sure. The APR was better, the coins were cheaper, the community was a bit more helpful at the time. Well, still are, should I say. So I thought, you know what, screw it, I'll just spin up a node. I was lucky because, you know, back then, a year ago, way back in 2021, yeah. You know, it wasn't expensive. I spun up a node, you know, it was a $20 node, I think. You know, shard zero was like 25 gigabytes, something like that. And yeah, and then just went for it and got elected, and, you know, carried on. That was basically it. There was nothing. It was just there. You know, I like the idea. So I did it. I don't really, you know, it's like, yeah. Oh, you know, they wanted more validators. I was like, I can do that, no problem. And obviously at the time I did think, well, great, you know, I'll make some money and support the network. But in all honesty, I never really even expected to get elected, even back then when there was hardly any validators, but I did. I still am. So, you know, But yeah, but it was a two-way thing. One, I was like, well, I get a little bit of passive income, so I mean, I don't make much money. I'm not a massive validator. I'm not going to make millions, but I can pay for my nodes on Harmony. But then the spare money I just use to pay for my other nodes. I can play around with servers. I can do stuff that I don't want to be running at home. All the black market, dark web stuff. No, just my computer will shut down or make noise when I'm trying to sleep. I can just run stuff on servers or play with stuff. Set up like stuff like that. Run calculations and things. Like if I wrote a game contract, so I want to run 10,000 games on the blockchain. I can run it on my computer, but that's a laptop and it might turn itself off. And I run out of battery, it'll make a lot of noise. Run for a couple of days. I'm like, just run it on a server. There you go. So yeah.
Wow, pretty good story you have there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember how long did it take to you to become elected for the first time?
Yeah, it took me at least 5-6 weeks, maybe even longer. I don't know, but I don't know. Actually, no, I can't really remember exactly. I remember it took a long time, and or at least in my head, as I can remember. I can't necessarily remember the time, but I can remember a lot of, I'm never ever gonna get elected. This is not happening. This is no way this is happening, and it seems to take forever, and it was just a case of like, well, I'll just keep doing it, I nearly gave up so many times, and then eventually I built up and got elected. So it's just if you want to do it, you'll get there eventually. I just went around, everybody saying, you want to delegate to me, blah blah blah. And eventually people did.
I guess that's kind of the next question is, how did you go about getting delegates before you were elected? Did you do anything special or just?
Yeah, just basically sent like all the whales a virus, and then it's like, if you don't delegate your one to me, ransomware, that was it. Like normally you get ransomware and it said send like 1 BTC to this address. I was just like, delegate your coins to Maffaz, and then they would, and then I'd just like turn it off. No, I just I advertised everywhere, like Twitter, Reddit, Telegram, wherever. Just it was quite tough, but just it's kind of more. I think I got more delegates just from being part of the community than I did from anywhere else. Just when people know me, and then people were like, oh, you should delegate to. Oh, delegate to Maffaz, he's a nice guy. He's good. And I'll be like, oh, cheers. And I think eventually at some point, what happened was, and this was when it was quite high. I'm not sure what the median stake is right at this moment, but the median stake then, I'm sure it was like 5.5-6 million, almost double. And I was just creeping up, and then one day I was just in one of the chat rooms, one of the trading groups or whatever, and I was just like, oh god, I need like 2 million or 3 million one. Somebody's like, I'll delegate to you, give us your address. And they did. And that was it. But that was, it was just from being part of the community, being in conversations and, getting yourself out there. I really wouldn't know where to start right now. I probably would just do the same, beg, steal or borrow. Well, you can't really steal or borrow, but you could beg.
Yeah, wow. Well, in your good old days in Harmony a year ago.
Back in 2021. I have a son and he's 5, and well, it's now 2022, but he only obviously he's 5, so he has his memory is a bit so for him, he would say way back in 2020, I remember this. that's his phrase. Yeah, I must have got it from a cartoon or something, but in his head, like 2020 is like the beginning of his memories when he was like 3, you know, or 4 or whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, in those good old days, you remember Shard Zero was almost well,
It was
25.
25 gigabytes, yeah, maybe
Yeah.
30, yeah, something like that.
So was it difficult for you to get the requirements needed to operate your own nodes?
No, not at all. I was on Shard Zero. I had the small, like a $20 server on DigitalOcean. It was 2 gig, 2 core or something. I don't know. It was nothing. It was like really cheap. It was like, say, $20 a month. It was under $50. You had 2 nodes. That was it.
Wow.
And that was, I'm sure that was even VPS, not even dedicated. I think I'd moved to a dedicated grudgingly at some point. But yeah, it was. But that was purely because there wasn't many people using Harmony at the time. I mean, this was, I think we had like Viper Swap, you know, was pretty much all there was, and that wasn't really that big, you know. There wasn't really much going on. Whereas now you've got, you know, a lot going on. Yeah, a lot of transactions, and it will just continue, you know. It will continue to grow and get bigger. I mean, I've been working with 3 different people with games coming out, you know. or at least 1, 2, you know, and you've already got DeFi kingdoms, you know. Although maybe they'll, yeah. But yeah, that was it was small, but then yeah.
Wow,
So
thank you.
how much did it cost you to get your 10,001 self-stake back then? Must have been pretty reasonable. How much did the 10,001 cost back then for your self-stake?
I got 100,001 for about $900.
You?
I think. Oh no, I had 110,001 basically, and that's what I bought. But 10,000, I might have bought. I can't remember, but it was less than 1 cent. Yeah, that was all I had. I'm not a rich guy. I won't be a millionaire if Harmony reaches $1. I was actually in quite bad debt, and I'd spent 5 years paying it off due to having a child. That's a different story, but I like to blame him, you know, so he can feel guilty and look after me when I'm old or something, you know. But yeah, like I had some problems, and it took me 5 years to pull myself back out of this hole of debt. And it was actually my uncle who'd lent me. I owed this last couple of $1,000 to my uncle, and so it wasn't a massive deal. But I wanted to pay it, but I was like, I also I knew I had a payment, a holiday pay coming in a few months, and I was like, no, I said I'm gonna buy some crypto, and I'm gonna buy this because I don't know why, I just did. I was just like, no, I'm gonna pay you in 3 months, and I'm gonna buy this one now. Probably the best move I did. Yeah. So maybe if it goes to $1, I can pay off half of my mortgage. Happy days.
Wow. And well, I think you have already answered this, but before getting your first election, did you think that it was impossible to get elected?
Yes. 100%. I was just like, I'm never gonna get elected here. It's impossible. Yeah. I didn't give up though, but I did think it was futile. But like I say, it wasn't. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. DigitalOcean give you $100 free credit, so I wasn't actually even paying for the service. I had the first 2.5 months for free anyway, and so I was like, well, you know, might as well try.
So how was the validator community when you started out? Was it very helpful? Was there all the groups?
Oh yes, yeah. I mean, some of them have gone a little bit quiet, like, but probably because they've made millions on freaking projects or whatever. But yeah, no, the community has always been helpful, especially like Rock the Blockchain. Was really high in the scene. You know, P-Ops, they were very informative, like JB, Mindstyle. And Ogre was really big in there. Brian Validator DAO. Who else was back there? Then I'm trying to think of who was there. Trying to think of who was there in the beginning. And then obviously, and then I did the same. I helped like USS Harmony get set up, and a few others. I can't really remember, but yeah, there was a lot of people on the scene. There was a lot of activity and a lot of help. You know, a lot of help. Like the way you see it is now, that's the way it's always been, as far as I'm concerned. There's just more people. All that's happened is that the only difference between now and 1 year ago, more or less, is that a year ago we had like 1 or 2 groups, you know, and now we have just like loads, you know, there's loads of trading groups. Even Reddit's gone crazy, you know. Yeah, you know, there was only like a couple of Telegram groups. Talk was fairly quiet. Discord was quite busy. But yeah, it's the same as what it is now, just with less people. And 1 or 2 people, like I say, have gone a bit quieter due to just you know, for whatever reason, probably like hopefully they've made a lot of money and retiring by a pool somewhere, having done their work.
Wow. Next question, if you may, how much time do you typically spend a day on validator related work?
You mean for my nodes or for the DAO?
Yeah, no, your work.
I won't lie, these days very little, but everything's monitored and automated. It's very rare I have any problems anymore. But there's, you know, I'm not doing anything special. I have 1 key. I have you know, I have enough for 1 key, so I don't need to change keys. I don't need to upgrade my nodes. Actually, I should probably check. Is the hard drive space? Every once in a while to update that. But I've even, you know, I have my own tools. So whether also, you know, open source, but I don't think anybody uses DigitalOcean. But for example, you know, if I needed a key, we would change the key. If I needed to increase my hard drive space, increase the hard drive space. So, you know, unless I get an alert, I'm normally okay. But that's from experience. You know, I know how it works. I know what's going on with it. So, and like I said, I've got 1 key. I'd be very surprised if both my nodes in separate places both died at the exact same time. You know, and if there is a problem with the chain itself, if there's issues, you know, with syncing or whatever, then I know about it because everybody's talking about it. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I have my tools. I do keep an eye on my nodes, but I don't log into my servers very often, you know. Maybe, in fact, probably been about maybe 10 days since I last logged into my nodes, but they talk to me, you know, they tell me everything's okay.
Wow.
Is your family supportive of you being a validator? Do they know that you're a validator, or is that?
No, it's I'm in IT. I'm a programmer. I'm a developer. I'm an analyst. So you know, doesn't really, you know, if it wasn't this, it would be something else. So it's not about support. I mean, there's not really anything they can do. You know, I mean, I don't really know what that question really means. If are they against me being a validator? No. You know, that's about it really. It wouldn't really matter. Even if I made $10,000 a month, they would still be the same. You know, as if I made minus $10,000 a month. So yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, no, I'll tell you, no, actually in the beginning when, you know, I didn't know what was going on and I didn't have my tools and and there was problems with the chain, and you had to be like up at every epoch and so on and so forth. That was sometimes a little bit so, but yeah, not a problem.
Wow. Why did you decide to become a validator for Harmony Protocol specifically?
Specifically,
Yeah.
because I bought a bunch of one, so I had a load of one, and I was going to stake. No, initially I staked it, so I staked it, and I was like, hang on a second, I can be the validator, and because I already had all the money I had was in one, so I would have had to sell my one if I wanted to go elsewhere. So yeah, so that was pretty much it. There was nothing special. I would be validating for other chains as well, but yeah, I think I've kind of missed the boat because and now that I don't really have money now, but I had a few opportunities. But when I had a bit of money, I was like, okay, see if I can find any other stake in other chains, but it wasn't really viable. So.
So you were on DigitalOcean when you first started, you said, and it was only 25 gigabytes. And so what's your server set up like now?
I use Contabo at the moment. I'm really happy with them. Even DigitalOcean, their specs weren't even being able to handle it. Just before I switched over, well, that was actually when I was spending a lot of time on my nodes, but my sign rate was dropping. It was like 80s, you know. It was like really bad, and DigitalOcean couldn't keep up with it, and yeah, it was a bit brutal. And so yeah, it was luckily I didn't really have to do any research or anything, because thankfully Hank the Crank wrote all these great guides, and I was just like, well, I did a little bit of research. I was like, Hetzner or Contabo, Googled it. Word on the street is Contabo is better, so I went with them. I mean, that don't take my word for it. I mean, I spent like 10 minutes Googling, like, you know, which is best. And I found a couple of benchmark websites, and they said that the computing power was better on the Contabo ones, and computing power is what we need for computing blocks. So, you know, that's what I went with. And I just literally followed Hank's guide, or well, whatever she put in there. That's what I did, which I think was the VPS 10 core, and that's been perfectly fine. Got two of those, one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast. And as long as the hard drive doesn't get, as long as the database size does not increase too high, then should be good for a while. Otherwise, then I'll have to, oh, God forbid, set up again. But yeah, I've got setup scripts, so that's also fine.
You want to go next, Town?
Yeah.
You should have done like good cop, bad cop kind of thing, you know. You should have ordered the questions, you know.
Yeah, that's kind of.
Oh, you are doing that, oh God.
No, sorry. Did you have experience in Linux already?
Oh yeah. Been 27 years. But yeah, I'm not really. You know, I did a lot in the past. You know, used to run Slackware, used to run a lot of servers and stuff. But I've been programming for the last, I don't know, 10 years, I guess, mostly. I do like DevOps and, you know, Linux stuff, but I tend to run Windows on my own machines and use Linux on the servers, because just for ease, you know. I also, you know, make music and do other things on Windows as well. And where I work at the moment, they're 100% Windows. I mean, they're like obsessed with Microsoft. Everything's Azure, OneDrive, Windows, you name it. You know, C# or .NET. So yeah, but to me, it doesn't. I don't really care whether it's Linux or Windows or Mac or whatever. You know, it's just a terminal. You know. You can have a great Windows and you can have a terrible Linux, you know. Just as long as I can SSH into a server, then I'm happy.
Did you start out on Testnet or did you go straight to Mainnet?
I don't know what testnet is. Yeah, no, I went straight to Mainnet. It's again, different people have different experiences in life, but I didn't really, for me, I didn't really see any advantage of, being on Testnet because it was very, very straightforward to me. But that's not, different people have different things, have different skills. So what might seem simple to me might seem a lot more complex to other people.
Yeah, that's right.
And also, I feel, especially when I'm not elected and I'm waiting to be elected, then what's the point of me being on Testnet when I can't even get delegates on Mainnet? So and what's the worst that can happen? It's like you'd have to literally just forget about it, be elected, and then something go wrong. When I was elected, I was really focused, because I was obviously there at each epoch. Oh, am I going to get elected? Somebody might delegate in the last second. Never did. And so if you're that focused on it, and I did encounter some issues, mainly just like adding keys or removing. When I first get elected, I have a 1 key, 2 nodes, that's it, There's no complexity in that, not to me anyway. The complexity came when you have to set up a new node, and then still not that complex, but you have to set up a new node, you have to import your mnemonic key, you have to make sure you got your keys and your passwords, and make sure that it's you're not adding the keys to the wrong server and stuff like that. So the difference between testnet and mainnet really, in my eyes, only really comes when you have to be dealing with multiple keys, multiple shards. That's when things really could get tricky. And I probably haven't said this, but the whole mentor program, and that's what would benefit. I mean, saying to people, do you want to go on a testnet and run a validator? So you can do that on mainnet. You can do that on testnet. And why waste your time when you're wasting your time playing on testnet when you can play on mainnet? If you've got the server set up on mainnet, you got your keys on, you're synced, you're just waiting for delegates. That's it. There's nothing more to it. As long as your server doesn't die, you're cool. You know what I mean? You get elected, that's it. You're cool. But after that, the next stage, which would be beneficial, is what you do if you get more delegates and you need to add a key or remove a key, or if you want to, split it across different shards, for example. If you want to change shards, what if you're on shard 0 and you can't handle it? You want to move to shard 2, for example. That's where validators, I think, probably truly do need assistance, like after they're set up. If you're set up, you're saying you're running a node on mainnet, that's it. You get elected, you don't have to do anything. You don't get elected, you don't have to do anything. Now, if you want to add a key, if you want to change shards, that's when you really should maybe think about having a play around on testnet.
Thank you. Have you been a validator for a different blockchain?
No, not technically. I mean, I've had coins and wallets which I've been validating for, but that doesn't really count. But no, I have looked at many chains though, and I will say Harmony's quite simplistic in comparison to some, from what I can see. But I can't remember, so I can't elaborate on that. I think I might be talking about Ada. I'm sure you have to have like 3 servers on Ada or something, but don't quote me on that. I could be completely wrong. Yeah, I looked into a lot of chains, but I never got there.
What social media sites do you use, and which one's most effective for you, if one works, if you notice?
I just mainly use Twitter and Telegram. That's it. Nothing else, nothing more. Add a YouTube. That's about it. I mean, sure, demonstrating the 2-second finality. But that's the only video I made. But yeah, sorry. I also wrote some Medium articles as well. So yeah, but Twitter for me was pretty much the place in Telegram. I don't know about Twitter because nobody says, "Oh, hi, I'm delegating from Twitter." But I had a lot of people on Telegram saying, "Oh, I'll delegate to you," after conversations. You can kind of Telegram's nice, like personal. You can chat to people, and you might get lucky and get people to delegate to you. And with Twitter, you just don't know.
Yeah. Wow. Do you have your own website?
Yes, I do. Maffaz.ONE, which is just a one-page thing, which is, yeah. I have another website, but I just never really finished it.
Soon.
Yeah, well, it's at dev.maffaz.one, and it also has like what's it called, the staking dashboard linked in there. It's a WordPress plugin we made for validators, but yeah, if anybody has WordPress, we can give you that.
Do you write your own wallet guides and staking guides, or?
Yeah. I write them on Medium. Yeah.
How do you find that beneficial to make it easier to get delegates? You can just hand them a guide to help them out.
I'm not sure. Like I say, I would imagine so. And it's not. I don't know, obviously, because we never know who's delegating to you for us, and are you just staying really still there, Rob?
Yeah, we're frozen up. There we go.
Yeah, it's not that you don't know if you're going to get delegates from it or not, but it is beneficial in the fact that you have when somebody says, "Oh, does anybody know how I can, I don't know, transfer from Binance?" Then you just like, bang, there's a link. There you go. I wrote a guide for you. Have a look at that. And in the guide, obviously, step by step how to do it, and everything obviously delegates to me. It's like, then you can delegate to a validator if you want, and there's a link to my profile or my staking page. So that's really beneficial. You can write a guide on anything and then just insert your staking link in there. So that's it. So I mean, I guess the thing is, I don't know, just if you're constantly talking about the same thing over and over and over again, write a guide and then send the link. Say, there you go. And also the guide is always going to be complete. It's always going to be accurate. It's always going to do whatever it is that they need to do. And you don't have to spend like an hour explaining it every 2 days. Oh, it's every 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's right. Going back a little bit, you talked us about you had like Telegram strategies, to obtain validators. Could you please share a little more with us, to the other fellow validators, to know what could they do?
That was basically, I mean, obviously being any sort of following, set up your own group and try and get people there, because that's always going to be the best way. And just just being generally social, really, hanging around and trying to find the places where the traders are, I guess, the ones that are buying and selling one, that might want to stake it. Don't be shy, even if people say, "Oh, stop posting," screw you, who delegate with me? So no, don't say that. But being approachable, and again, like I say, having an arsenal of tools at your disposal. You have to have you have to know what to respond, and if you're just chatting away about something completely different, and then out of the blue somebody throws a question in there, which that if you answer this question, there is a chance that you might get some delegations of some people. Then you throw them the guides. Guides are good, or at least in my opinion. If you just say, "Oh, delegate me, here's my address," people are like, whatever. But if you're answering a question with a complete guide of something, and then in that guide there is, okay, if you want to stake your one, here's a link to me. I can't think that's a bad strategy. Yeah.
Thank you.
Apologize for the internet. I don't know if that's where I'm at here on
Well,
the
you're in
12th floor.
in Denver. You're in Denver, where there's a conference with like 5 million coders. Like of course there's going to be no internet. It's like the guys like they've got like a full call out team of like infrastructure engineers like working 24 hours a day just to keep the internet turned on for that section of Denver which you're in right now.
Right.
They'll just be like, like sparks flying everywhere and every exchange and everything, guys. I've never seen the power like this. Guys like trying to hold the modems in. How does the internet run anymore at a data center, How does it work? Exchange. I don't know how it works in Exchange. Guys are like unplug there, plug in there. It'll be chaos. It'll be chaos. You see, it's all happy for you in your nice little comfortable hotel room. But imagine you're what's it called? Telephone company engineer.
Right.
It'd be like having to like dig up the ground and pull like fiber optic cables out and plug them into some transducer or something, and like Back to the Future. Okay, carry on.
Where do you find is the best place to keep up with what's going on with Harmony? Like,
well, it depends on in what sense. It's one thing that there doesn't appear to be any one source of truth, but I guess a cross between Discord, Twitter, and Talk. One of those three places. And I haven't really been that active in Reddit recently, but I tend to be more focused with Validate. So that tends to be sort of Discord and Talk. And I only but there's a lot goes on at Twitter, but it's so fast on Twitter, it's not necessarily, you don't always get the same information on Talk or Discord. But for validators, Talk and Discord, probably Discord will be the best place. But you really should just cover all channels, it's or whatever you're comfortable with. I don't think there's any secret. I don't think there's any information which is like really important, which is exclusive to any one place. But I do think that there should be at least one source of truth that the others can pull from.
Okay, thank you. What do you feel you do that makes you different from other validators? Besides being Maffaz.
I don't know. No, I'm nothing special. No, I can't really answer that. I don't know. And what I'm trying to say is you can't do anything more. If you're a validator, you're a validator. There's nothing special about a big validator or a little validator. There's no that concept doesn't really exist. You have a validator or you have a not a validator. That's it. There's nothing special within the group of validators. There's no godlike beings or superstars, rock stars, Olympic athletes. None of that. It's like you can either run a node or not. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
What have you found to be the most difficult part about being a validator throughout your course of being a validator?
Just the beginning. I think that's the hardest part. Getting through the initial setup, getting elected, having keys, changing shards. And I think once you're going through all of that process and you're comfortable with it, I don't think there's any real challenge after that, other than just making sure that your node is not dead or your hard drive's not out of space.
Okay. What has been the most rewarding part about being a validator?
I guess just, doing it. I guess, I think as well, I think it's good to feel that you're part of something. You're part of a decentralized network. It's you actually mean something. The network couldn't exist. Well, could probably exist without me personally, of course. But if there wasn't this group mentality of decentralization, then the network wouldn't function. Part of that makes me feel special, I guess. Having gone through the process, I mentioned several times now, from not being elected, change, blah, blah, blah. Having that experience is good. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's it really. Rewards, and of course, having rewards is always good. You've always got that. It's not massive amounts of money if you've only got one key, but it's a little bit of passive income. If I don't take it out and spend it on whatever, then it'll just build up. It's a little bit of pocket money, so that's nice.
Have you made any mistakes along the way that you wish you would have known about beforehand that maybe help out new validators?
Loads of mistakes, but I don't. It's not really. Can't really advise anybody on the mistakes that I've made, because I think everybody's going to make a mistake at some point, and it's not about making mistakes. That's unavoidable. It's about how you deal with it and be prepared to make mistakes. Don't get complacent. Don't be blasé, and make sure that until you've gone through all the different things that are possible as a validator, then you won't have the experience. So you won't know if you're going to make a mistake or not. So just always be ready for a mistake to happen, and it might not even be your mistake. Had issues with the shards, but it's not your mistake. You still have to deal with it. So yeah, it's lots of mistakes, but mostly because I didn't know, inexperience. But it's about learning from your mistakes, then and being prepared for them. I'm still prepared for them, but with the knowledge I have now and the tools that I use, I'm comfortable.
Thank you. You have a cloud server, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the biggest bill you have got from overages, if you have?
Overage, I've never had overages, but I've been shot too. It's never gone that crazy.
Okay.
Oh no, actually, tell a lie. I think I might have had a little bit from Linode, because I have different cloud servers. I had one on Linode, and I think I got charged $10 or something the last time things went a bit crazy.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Did you start out with 0% commission? And if so, for how long did you have 0%?
I started out with 0% for 2 months, and then I went to 5. But that was mainly because I couldn't afford it. It's just like, so when I charge people, I have to shut it off, and I've just been elected. I just ran out of my what's it called? Free credits, should we say? And also the shards were starting to get a bit like I needed to. Not only did I need to upgrade I had to upgrade the nodes at that time, and to dedicated CPUs, and also I ran out of the credit, and I was like, I can't really afford not to. I think I gave it another month or something after I've been elected. Can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, went to 5%, and it wasn't that big a deal at the time. People had no choice. No, yeah. But I don't. Yeah, it's see with the 0%, it's good to get elected, I guess. and there's always going to be people that how can I say it, low fee chasers, you know, because if you, I don't know, maybe it is profitable, maybe it's not. But if you're constantly chopping and changing, you're always going to lose that epoch, you know. So I don't know if it's just fantasy in the 0% chaser's head, or if it is really profitable. I've never really cared or looked it up, or did the math, should I say. But you know, it's like you're not doing this for free. Well, you might do it if you get free credits from servers, from cloud servers, great, you know, charge 0%. If you've got a little spare cash that can, you know, keep you going a bit longer, fair enough. But for me, it's like I'm not in no illusions. I think the delegates I've got now, because I did have 25 million at some point, and that was way after I charged the fee, and now I have like 5. So, you know, it's but I don't think those 5 care anymore. That whoever they are, whoever you are, thank you. So I think I'm good for now. So, but yeah, but you can't really control it. As far as I'm concerned, it's 0%, 5%. You know, I could have a maximum of 10% anyway. Like even if I went up to that, it probably still wouldn't make much of a difference. Which I might do at some point. Depending on how things go. But yeah, it's if you're looking for advice, don't think like that. You're either going to get delegates or not. If I was delegating to somebody and they raise their fee to 5%, which is really, you know, 0.04% or whatever it is, if you take it off the thing, you know, 5% fee doesn't mean that your delegate loses 5%. You charge a 5% fee and your delegate loses 0.04%, you know, over a year, which is like negligible, you know. So, you know, I would be like, oh, good for you, you know, make yourself a bit of cash. And it's nothing for me. If I get 101 reward, it's not even 101 reward, then you take 5, you know. That's not that much. So yeah, it's that you don't know who your delegates are, you don't know what they're thinking, you don't know the reasons for delegating or even undelegating. So it's an on point for me.
Sure. How did you pick your validator name? Interesting question.
It's my name. So, well, people have been calling me Maffaz. I've been called Maffaz for 30 years, so you know, that's just what I call myself. Well, what that's what people call me. So yeah.
Okay.
Do you promote your validator any different now than when you first got elected, or do you promote your validator much at all now?
I don't really promote my validator. I haven't really promoted my validator properly since I started on doing the VDAO. I decided to put more focus into that. It was kind of a bit of a choice. I work full time. I have other projects. I code for fun. I have family, children. So it was kind of a bit like I can't put all my energy into promoting my node and doing the VDAO. Don't get me wrong, I still obviously, you know, promote it a little bit, share things and so on and so forth, but I don't go full on. So yeah. So and also I was also a bit, I don't know. I'm more for decentralization, you know. I mean, I didn't see a point in time whereby, you know, I'd have like, you know, hundreds of millions of one delegated, and I didn't really envisage that anybody would, or at least still now. I thought the idea, because when we started the VDAO, Stephen basically said, I want to have 1,000 independent validators, blah blah blah. I want, you know. So I was just like, okay, so what the goal is here is to have more validators, not less validators with more coins. So by that logic, it was kind of like, well, why why am I going to go against the grain here? I can't be on one side saying, okay, we want more validators, and on the other side, give all your coins to me. So I was kind of a bit in that quandary. So yeah, that was why. And you know, and like I say, I'm kind of comfortable with the state I'm in for the moment. And it's probably better now. I had a little bit more then, but then I was constantly 1 key, 2 key, 1 key, 2 key, and it was just like silly. But where I am now, it's pretty comfortable. So I'll be happy not to receive any more delegates and see other people get validators, because it's also good for harmony. I mean, I know we have big validators. I'm not going to get into that discussion here, but you know, if we have, you know, and it's not about even having many validators, but we have a situation whereby we don't have enough validators, and we also have validators which have a lot of keys on one node, you know, like 10, 15 keys on one single node, one data center with one internet connection. That's not very stable at all to me. In one area, and we have a lot of nodes located on the West Coast or close to the leader node. So we could, so that's not what we want. That's not really going to make for a successful global chain. We need lots of nodes all across the globe, and we need less keys on each node. Otherwise, you know, we could be in a situation whereby, probably won't happen these days, but you know, if a data center goes down, or if the connection to an area where there's like lots of nodes, or all the big nodes, and if they're all in the same location, you know, that's gonna potentially like shut the chain down. Probably won't, of course, but that's the risk you run, you know. Yeah. So I'd rather have, you know, 1,000 nodes with 1,000 validators, all with like 5 million each or whatever it is. That's never going to happen. But yeah, that's really what a decentralized chain should be like. But it's not how it turned out.
Well, I have a question regarding that. What decentralization means to you? I mean, truly decentralization.
True decentralization. Well, true decentralization means there is no formal centralized point of power. That means that nobody or no one thing has control over anything else. The consensus has to come from the group as a whole, whether that be a group of nodes or a group of people, but not one person or one group can say, okay, we've decided this, therefore you will have to follow what we say. Decentralized, unless we all agree, or unless at least the majority agrees, then it's not going to happen, and there's no power grabs there. You know, centralized is pretty much how humans live their lives in all walks of life. You know, even in every level of society. I think decentralization is pretty much anarchy, really, because that's the descriptions of both are fairly similar, but nobody would go for anarchy. So I think decentralization is a more fitting term.
Thank you.
Do you use the Telegram bots to monitor your node? Like, do you use Telegram bots like VStats and Smart Stake bot?
No, I have my own tools, but yeah, I do use Telegram bots and all sorts of monitoring things. But I just write my own code, so depends on what I need.
Okay, that's great. And one last question for me: how do you envision harmony in next year?
I've a highly successful did. It's an interesting question. I haven't really thought about it. Depends on the decisions they make, really. There's a lot of potential. Certainly can't disagree with that. But you know, they have to do things right. You have to. Well, I don't know. See, really, it's freaking blockchain. Anything can happen, really. It doesn't matter what they do. Anything can happen. They could do everything perfect, and it could fail. They could do everything terrible, and it's going to succeed. So, yeah. But you know, there's a lot of people. From what I know, obviously, I'm working with people, and you know, I know a lot of people in Germany, and from what the feeling that I get is there's a lot of activity. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of potential. There's a lot of money, and there's a lot of investment. So it really should. It should really. It should. You know, we said this a year ago. That it should be $1 by now. You know, it should be at least 50 cents by now. So that's why I'm a bit so. It's just like you're still not releasing properly. You know. We're still young. There's still a lot of potential there. But yeah, I think we're at a point now where it's going to be very, very hard for something to go wrong here. You know, something would have to go pretty drastically wrong for it to fail. But if this the things that are going on now, if this continues, which then yeah, this should have quite a bright future, I'd say.
Yes.
I'm very, very pessimistic, you know. Actually, I'm very optimistic. No, I'm not very. I'm a realist. I'm like, I don't know, you know. Doubt it will fail. I mean, we've got like Doge is still around. You know, Dogecoin still exists, you know. Like so. Yeah. Anything can happen, you know. But
I don't think. I was gonna say I don't think there's a single person in Denver that doesn't know about Harmony now.
No, definitely not. No, that's what I mean. It's a really good chain, you know, and I do go from like, God, this is just terrible, especially when you're inside it a little bit. Sometimes when you're inside too much, you know, you're looking from the inside out, you're just like, this is a mess. Then if I take spend some time with family, go on holiday or whatever, and then I come back and you come back and you're like, whoa, hang on a second, this is fucking man. this is the best thing since sliced bread. So I'm a bit like that, but I don't think it's gonna die. I don't think it's gonna, you know, lose value. I don't think anything terrible is gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna explode. But I don't know what's going to be like in a year. I hope it's going to go to $1. So easy. That's what it should be. That's what it's worth. It's worth $1. I mean, if ADA is worth what? How much is ADA? Does anybody?
I think it's just under $1 today.
Just under $1, but it went to $3 something, didn't it? Like, you know. And that $3 was like 45 billion supply is a lot of money. That's like, you know, 120, 30 billion dollars market cap, right? For ADA, you know, that's just an example. That's just one example. There's many more. And if that value of that for something that, you know, is just awful, really. You know, I'm so glad I moved away from that chain. And Harmony is inflationary, you know, so we're not ever going to stop printing one. Yeah, it's going to go up and up and up, but it's going to take until, I can't remember, I worked it out one time. If you're right, it's not I worked it out. There's a document which shows you exactly the emission over the next 40 years or whatever. And I think it would take us to get to like 2050 or something to get like, you know, like 40 billion coins or something like that, you know. And it's like, it's not like we're going to be doubling the supply every 2 years. It creeps up slowly, you know. And it's like, even if we waited, no, I think it might have even been 100 years, I'll have to look this up, but a ridiculous amount of time, we would have the same supply of like ADA. Listen, like when I'm like, you know, skeleton, like 100 years or something, we'll have 45 billion won in circulation, like 100 years, and yeah, ADA has that right now. And they think it's worth more than one. Wait, I mean, like a lot more worth than one. I would, like, ridiculous. It's like it blows my mind, I suppose that's speculation for you, people buy NFTs, like, those crazy NFTs, like they're worth like loads of money. And you're like, what? Is that like art? I like art, it's like the crypto punks, for example. You're like, what? Anyway, that's by the by.
Oh,
So yeah, Harmony has a bright future, and sooner rather than later, of course, but who knows? I'm getting too old. I wanna retire somehow. So one to the same market cap as ADA. It's gonna be like $45 a coin. Then I might happy.
Yeah.
well, what a good interview. I wish my internet connection was a little better here, but really appreciate you letting us interview you, Maffaz, and
It's been a pleasure.
well, thank you. You want to say any closing remarks, or?
Closing remarks. I don't know. If you got any more questions, I might say something, but I think.
How about like maybe tips for new validators?
Tips for new validators is basically, don't give up. Don't think you're worthless. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. Even if somebody has hundreds of millions of one stakes, they're just the same as you. If you can have a node up and running, that's half the battle. Once your node's up and running, then all you need to do is get elected. And getting elected is the hardest part, but once you get past the first election, then the chances are you're going to stay elected. And I know we haven't got started yet, but the Validator DAO, we will have some bootstrap funds and we will have mentorship programs coming up. So just bide your time. And also as well, take advantage of free cloud services, because if we start looking around, you can last quite a long time just on the free stuff, And if you don't get elected, you don't need to have two nodes, You only need to have one node running, DigitalOcean give you €100 a month, $100 to play with. Linode, they give you $100. Google Cloud, they give you $300. AWS, Azure, I don't know. There's the Heroku. I don't even know how many there are out there, but just Google free trial cloud services and just cycle through them. Get as much as you can for free, and just have one node running. As soon as you get elected, though, you need a backup node straight away. Don't mess around. So you could have two nodes all the time. But anyway, the point is you can run a node on Mainnet for free for a good few months, maybe even 6 months, and hopefully that should give you enough time to get enough delegates to become elected. And if you're already a validator, take advantage of the free cloud. You know what I mean? It's free money. You're not paying $50 a month. You might only get 1 month with DigitalOcean, for example. But you know what I mean? So yeah, just there are ways of doing it.
That's some great tips right there. Well, thank you very much. I guess we'll say goodbye to everybody.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Yeah.
Yeah. Stay cool, man. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.